be good. Yagut now has to keep Shaman. And I haven't got the classes for JJ, I'm afraid, so we will see what he has. And he's playing Druid.
Yeah, so it's gonna be Druid versus the double Bloodlust Shaman. It looks like it's just standard mid-range. You can usually see that by if they play Wild Growth, because you can't play Wild Growth in aggro.
That's what made aggro possible, right? Is the printing of Aspirant, so you could you could take out 2 of the wild growths, which enabled you to play a much lower curve.
Yes, because Aspirant is actually like it's worse in ramp decks, but it's better in really aggressive deck. If you can protect the Aspirant, it will give you a lot more value on average.
Yeah, and this curve looks really good from JJ. Is that right? You just go 3 into 2 into 5. That seems like a really nice curve. Weird though it sounds.
I don't think there's any weapon, so he's just gonna play Harrison as a minion. I'm sure JJ knows everything in this list.
Yeah, Yagu's played 3 matches already, and he's not allowed to change until his opponents play 3 matches, is the rule we think. And so he'll have had plenty of time to scout this out and make sure that there's no weapons in the deck.
So I believe he's just gonna opt for hero power here because it allows him to play Harrison into Coin Law, which is ideal. I think the best top deck for Super JJ is Emperor, so we can coin Emperor into Law, into combo. We're pretty nuts.
Yeah, that's some of the stupid stuff that Druid can do these days with all the ramp, with the Emperors, with everything. Like, you don't have to necessarily be aggro with Druid just to have a really powerful deck. And I think it's regarded as one of the most powerful decks in the game right now, just through the whole versatility that it brings. Meanwhile, Yagu's just sticking with the plan, just building up a load of minions that are really hard to remove, and waiting for Bloodlust.
Yeah, or Flame Tongue, I guess. Usually you want to place the Death Rattle minions on the sides. So if you draw Flame Tongue, you can make like a longer chain. So yeah, Yagut obviously did that correctly, and like he can do a chain of 3 tokens now with Flame Tongue.
Yeah, so the only problem obviously is you start building again from the right, but he's going to have no time to build new totems for some time with his lower theb possibility into Fire Ellie. Do you save the low theb for later in this matchup, or would you just play it now as a 5/5?
I mean, if you have nothing else. Now he has an option, Bloodlust. It would be a lot better if you could Rock Bite as well. It's not clear. The damage kind of adds up awkwardly, but I still think it is better than. It's actually pretty close. I think it is better than.
How much of the win condition does Bloodlust represent if you use it up now, though?
Like this is just like Shaman versus Druid is against midrange Druids, like one of the most purest board control fights. So you use your stuff to go for board. You also see Druid use combo fairly often if they're like kind of behind just to clear the board. Right.
So it's just literally, as you say, it's a board control fight, and use what you can to make sure you stay that way, and find a way to win when you've got the board.
So obviously Swipe is looking really good here. If Super JJ had it, picks it up, but obviously doesn't have the mana now. Has to make the trades. Ooh, Flame Tongue, that is a good draw, but is it correct now? It's not, because he has, like if he had a Shredder, I'm sure he would have went for it, but he doesn't, so.
Yeah. And again, putting the minion most likely to survive on the left-hand side, that's correct, so that you can chain your other guys. Yeah.
Like you don't want like 1/1 Fire Totem, like for example. Like it's those small decisions that can make and break a game.
Yeah, and it's the sort of thing that you don't notice when you're just watching a game casually. It's like these players automatically put things in the right place. When it comes up later, there'll be a chain of things happen, and you'll be like, oh, that's meant to be there. It's like
also the golden shredder rule that so many people struggle with, like placing the shredder in the middle. It doesn't really apply for Shaman because you have Flame Tongue in your deck. You don't have, that's much more likely to draw that than get like the 2 in 80 or something to get a Direwolf Alpha or Flame Tongue. So you usually just place Death Rattles on the far left, like you usually do. even if it's a shredder.
That's actually something you see a lot in the Chinese league, where they're used to playing a lot more shaman, and they just stick everything with death rattle automatically on the left. Like, it triggers the chat sometimes because the shredders end up on the left so often, but never end up on the right, which is the giveaway that there is a reason for it that's ingrained into their instincts. But like the 2 in 80 chance is getting more and more like distant and less relevant now. But it's still a great meme.
An important observation was that he played Loatheb on far left. The reason is that BGH is a lot stronger on like a 5/5 than a 6/3. So it was kind of like protecting that. The downside was that if all the minions stick, he would miss damage. So again, like those small decisions that are not easy. But if you do them correctly in the long run, they're going to add up.
So that means the BGH would only do 3 damage instead of 5. Is that the reason you're trying to say?
Exactly.
Yeah? And he's not that far from being able to set up lethal here with this Bloodlust. He's only going to need a little bit down. Would you tempo BGH here? He's chosen not to.
So what is he fearing? What is he fearing? Like boom on itself? He would have lethal, right? Yeah. But does he have lethal anyway? He has 11 plus 12. That's 23, so it's not lethal through a hero power. Yes, it is. He has Rock Rider. So I guess he just sees it that way. Like he represented lethal just on board there.
And again, as you said, using just a huge board control fight going on right now, using all their win conditions, if you like, to make sure that
they're good friends, and Super JJ knows there's double block lost in this deck, so he respects the board a lot. He can also do that because he has Boom in hand. If he didn't have Boom, it might have been different.
Okay, so
I wanted to try a Storm here. You have 2 Storm. They're worth like absolutely nothing at this stage.
Yeah, might as well use them to do something with here.
So you can like, and then BGS first, and then make a totem afterwards, so he doesn't like miss a juggle into the boom that would die from BGH anyway.
Interesting decision there. No, this wasn't just making sure he gets the extra point. So he's cleared out the boom box, make sure he can clear his guys down, gets the extra point of damage in with the juggler safely.
Yeah, like it was just if he didn't do it this way, he could have missed damage.
Yeah.
By hitting. So it was 100% correct sequencing from Mr.Yagut.
And so the situation in the last game was all he had was a bunch of spells that appeared to do nothing. He's reached that spot again. Last time he managed to pull it out, but
last time he had a board and
last time he had a board to actually defend, right?
Now he has Summit Chow.
JJ's kind of in the same spot though. He's got a Wild Growth that obviously is actually an OK card because it's cycles.
There's a lot more cycle cards in Druid than in Shaman. So JJ is definitely ahead. He also has just like actual minions and gets the Drake as well. Only that. That's so good.
Yeah, suddenly he's just going to be able to draw card after card, and
so
whilst playing 5/5s and 4/4s.
Yeah. So because he had the ability to hero power down the totem, if it hit it, he opted to play that first and before trading into the totem. So let's say it hit the Wrath of Air totem, he could hit face with the juggler instead.
So again, just the little edges that add up in professional Hearthstone, as opposed to just it being really obvious what to do. And they do add up. I mean, 1 point out of 30 is a hell of a lot of points. Killing a 2/2 that you weren't going to have to kill. Yeah, it all adds up over the course of a game of a best of 5 or a knockout tournament and so on.
Are we gonna see a pretty awkward clear here?
Yeah, because he must be aware that JJ's hand has been kind of awkward for this game. So, he's going to think that the clear might be good here, and he's going to be disappointed when the next turn takes place. But of course, both of them had equally sort of awkward times burning up there.
So Drake, Harrison, hero power is really strong here. Oh, he can even Wrath for one, if he wants to. Yeah, I like Wrathing for one. Like, do you really care about the Flame Tongue at this moment without a board, nothing in his hand?
Yeah, like normally things can go wrong, like Argent Horse Rider and stuff, but again, he knows the deck inside out, he knows that stuff isn't there.
Yeah, but I'm really surprised he doesn't go for the Harrison there. Why is he holding?
Maybe he doesn't know the deck list. Maybe he thinks there is a Doomhammer threat in it, or maybe he knows.
He would have.
But we don't know it, and there is a.
He would have had lethal now. Yeah, he set up for lethal anyway. With combo hero power was exact 21 with the Drake, but still, yeah.
I guess just being mega safe in case he's forgotten something or not seen something.
Maybe he does know the list if he holds on to Harrison this long. But anyway, even if it was a Doomhammer, like he would just have lethal, so it really surprises me.
Goes back to what I was saying earlier about something that I've observed about the pros, where when it comes to the really won games, the sort of 95%, 99% games, that's when the most disagreements happen with the major.
Yes,
players.
because I think some people have a tendency, like some people, the pros have a tendency of playing too safe in situations where they feel like, oh, I'm so far ahead here, but yeah, of course, if you're like 100% to win, you should play around everything, right? But
yeah, it's that 95 to 99% slot where
it's
one
just
pro
like,
will say, I'm playing around Doomhammer, and the other will say, well, I'm playing to put next turn lethal on so he can't draw it, and so on.
Exactly.
Just kind of interesting. Anyway, he's going to get this win here eventually, after just playing carefully to make sure that in his mind he gets the win more safely. Again, going back to that 99% thing, and that makes it 1-1. And Shaman's done its job by taking out Paladin anyway.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what Yagut is going to bring on the field.
So again, just a reminder, it is last hero standing, so JJ will have to play the Druid, and Yagut's bringing his Rogue out, which we saw earlier Ryzen win with Rogue versus Druid, and Yagut, who's obviously at least an equally powerful Rogue player, has just decided he likes this matchup and wants to have a go at this.
So just to inform, the lineups are from Yagut, it's Shaman, Rogue, Warrior, and Druid, and from Super JJ, it's Druid, Warrior, Paladin, and Mage. And we have the bands as well. They are Yagut band Mage and JJ band Druid. So that means that
Rogue and Warrior are left for Yagut.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, okay. So yeah, so you play Rogue.
Yeah, I believe that Yagut has control warrior, so pretty obvious decision, especially when you're a rogue specialist.
And
I think you can go for like backstab, hit in Farseer. It's not worth using backstab SI when you have a second backstab in hand.
Yeah, and how many backstab targets are there in this match? I mean, everything in a way, but how many good backstab targets? Do they tend to come too late anyway, like 4/6s and things? Or is it still good to save
the backstab is good because it's the tempo matchup. You have so much to combo it with. So backstab is still a good card in this matchup. I'm really surprised he did it this way. It's not like he's saving, like, I could understand if he had like a dagger up, he would save the dagger intact, but he had like second backstab. So he would still have the backstab SI combo, but he would like save it for something bigger. He didn't need to use it there. It really surprised me. I'm sure he has his reasons.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I can think of is that it does save you 2 mana later when you start building up the big weapon ready to set up the Blade Flurry.
Yeah, but as I said, he doesn't even have like a dagger.
Yeah, that's like a long way down the road right now, so...
You can backstab, coin, Farseer, this if he wants to. The downside is he will not be able to coin boom, so maybe he opts for sap instead. I don't think so. No, I think the other play is like a must. Like, it sucks, but you kind of have to do it.
It's consistent with what he just did as well, right? You're saying it's a tempo matchup, then it's consistent with that being a tempo matchup. Put this on the board and hope to top deck something next turn. And you've still got the sap in case something horrible happens. Although Lotheb could be a...
So he's just going to redagger for the reason is he has boom. So you could place like the more minion heavy Vogue list. I believe it's pretty close to the good old list he run back in the days with Belchers as well.
Yeah, if he's playing the list he plays on stream when he's tired, which is like his go-to list then I think it has one Belcher.
This is a dilemma because, like, yeah, it's just so good, but it still sucks. He has to delay boom another turn, but I still think like it's so good because he can like hit into something, like into a shredder with the teacher, heal it up with Vasir, or sap something else, whatever. Like he has so many options with that hand.
Okay, and you were saying earlier that teacher's really good in this matchup.
Yes.
Why is that when you've got the 1/1s that can just be swiped? Is it because they just keep coming back, or?
No, like you essentially gain the temper for free, but he has to use swipe. He has to use 4 mana to kill it, and swipe. Like teacher has, like it has 5 toughness, so like essentially at the very least you trade 4 mana for 6 mana.
Like as we just saw there. So
yeah, exactly.
And that was like
because
the
it's not
case.
like he uses spell, but they do something, right? He just generates stuff for free.
Yeah, and that's if he has the swipe, and if he doesn't have the swipe, then it becomes
like it's just too much to deal with for Rogue. Oh, sorry, for Druid.
Yeah, and that's going back to like everything that's wrong with Druid, or everything that's wrong with Druid. There's not much wrong with Druid, but the problems that Druid can suffer is that its mass removal against patron, against this sort of thing, isn't the best. So
they have some of the weakest AoE.
So how do you see this one now? Obviously, he's finally got the boom, but he's
that's
kind
not
of
good
all in on boom.
Super JJ. So will he draw? No, he will just play Lothar. I think Lothar is definitely play. You see so few cards in hand. When there's like few cards in your good hands, the chances are that Lothar will have like a higher effect. Just imagine if like it blocked a sprint top deck.
Yeah, it's just gone past turn 7. You're down to 1 or 2 cards.
Like you still have sprint in hand because obviously you played boom before sprint. So
yeah, so JJ just there, assuming there's a very good chance of sprint being in hand, which there was a good chance. We can see it's not there, but you know.
Swipe is such a good draw here. It really helps clearing.
He's gonna have to negotiate these boom bots carefully though. On the clear, just have to make sure he doesn't take a bunch of damage to the face.
He's gonna attack face first correctly, swipe face, the 5/2. Oh my god! Oh, he puts him to 1!
Goodness.
Oh, that is devastating.
Wow.
Oh my god.
And he did everything right there. He set it up so it was maximum chance that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And he's hit the 2 1 in 3 chances and rolled high.
Well, he could have been more sure, but he would risk some of his minions dying without attacking. Like he could have had 3 minions and then swiped. He swiped with 2 minions on board. But that said, I don't blame him whatsoever for the decision. I would probably do something about the same.
So, do we know what this warrior is? I don't think we do yet. I think because he won everything with Paladin.
Yes, exactly. We have no clue.
This is a really bad matchup with control, right?
Yeah, it has Sylvanas to be GH, so usually it's control.
And
again, fan not what you want in this matchup. It's the worst card in this deck.
Yeah, Yagu's got a really decent opening hand, and JJ's got a really decent opening hand. Yagu's got the opposite. He hasn't got a thing he can do.
Ooh, Despite is just like a GG weapon. Like as a rogue player, when the Despite stuff done, you just look at the cards and you just want to cry.
So, as this looks like it's going to be quite a short game, how does the rogue try and win this game normally? Like when it doesn't get a hand like this, what's the rogue?
He needs to get something to stick. This is the matchup where shredders shine. You need to get something to stick. A lot of like the 3 drops are really bad because the likelihood of them getting weapon down is really high. Usually you want to play your 3 drops in like 2 at the time. For example, on the best turn 6 play is usually like Vasir SI or something.
Mm-hmm. And obviously he's just got the opposite of that hand. He's having to fan into 2 minions, one of which is an armor smith, just to try and get out of.
The best turn 4 is prep sprint. Lothar is like if the warriors hold a lot of armor, Lothar is far better on turn 5 than Drake is because they can't, like with no weapon they can't kill, or even with a weapon they can't kill it, and they can't like hard remove it. So Lothar is pretty good in this matchup. Also Belcher is a lot better than Healbot that some have replaced Belcher with. So it is like he has some good value in his hand, Mr. Yagut.
Yeah, interesting. He just chose to, like, obviously Rogue is known for running out of damage in this match, and he still had to fan to give away the armor. But that has drawn him into these things that.
Yes, like
least...
you gotta bite the nail and just do it. Like you have to do it. You can't sit with 2 fans the entire game.
Yeah, and he can at least try and fight to the board now. Although obviously, yeah, we can see that JJ's sitting on a pretty powerful hand right now.
Fan would actually be decent here.
Yes. Wow.
Actually, it doesn't matter because he can just hit in with a weapon.
Yeah, that's fair. So
you usually don't want to sap that thing. That's probably not going to work out for you.
Is there an option here to play your own Dr. Boom?
Yeah, I think it's an option for that.
To try and get your Boom bots to hit his Dr. Boom as a...
No, you don't have to risk it. Like, you're probably just saying I'm not ever going to play round one combo. You need so much to win this game. You need something on the board to stick, so you just have to accept you can't play round one. I would just probably play Boom here. Because if you can kill Boom, yeah, fine, you can do that, but he can't. He can only sap it. I mean, he can Deadly Flurry this, but that is too costly.
Yeah. Yeah, the chance of killing it were pretty slim last go if he went for this first.
Yeah, like it has too low expected value. Like, first of all, it's 1 in 4 for both to hit, but like it's even lower chance because they have to hit above average, right?
Yeah.
Like 5 damage is average. It had to hit 6, so it's maybe like 1 in 6, 1 in 5.
I was just wondering with him being so far behind anyway, maybe the gambling would have been a...
Yeah, like sometimes like those odds are good if you're so far behind. I don't think he was quite there yet. Like he still has some good cards.
Yeah, I certainly trust his judgment over mine. I just raising the point that maybe that was a...
I think it's a lot higher chance that the opponent doesn't have Grom, so you don't really care about taking the damage.
And he is in a position now, at least, like you say, he's got the board temporarily.
He just hit face, man.
Yeah, that's the problem here. And Warrior's got even more aggressive now when it plays the
like, yes, lethal in 2 turns, he's at 40 life. So, I mean, actually, he has lethal next turn. Never mind. Like, it's even better this play because you have.
Get him.
Yeah, so that's 6 damage, but the Belcher's gonna stop that play.
Rolls a 1.
You need to play all your stuff first, then Boom Bot, because you need to show face in the bot. Otherwise you'll just go face.
Okay, so he's managed to tidy up all the immediate problems, which is all you can do right now, and generate a little bit of pressure.
Yes, so he managed to survive.
Excuse me.
I still think we're gonna see no, even not. Okay, he's gonna draw. If he get in there, no, it wouldn't even set up for lethal. So, like, if let's say he had, if he used both Despite, if not, like, if he has another Despite left and he had this in his hand,
wow,
he would have played get in because he would have set up lethal. But he didn't have lethal in hand, so
yeah. And he had the BGH plus probably both executes left to draw into there, so it was a decent draw that he went for there and got. And Yagu's now probably out of defensive options, so he's got to find a way to win this in like 2 turns or something.
You can flurry that board. Develop teacher. I guess that's what he opts to do. That's 9 mana exactly.
Yeah, that at least puts him some stuff on the board.
Don't really see any good alternatives. Like, I mean, there's probably other places he wasn't that low. You could do something with admin, bots. Yeah. Also nice to save the slime, like.
Yes.
So it don't just die to 2 hits with a War Axe.
Yeah, it's pretty bad when you're saving a slime to keep you in the game, but that's what it comes down to, right? You have to fight for every
That's the strength. That's the strength of Control Warrior. When it's ahead and has enough life, it can like change role and go aggressive. Like a lot of the times, it's better to go aggressive against even Face Hunter as Control Warrior. Like if you have enough armor up. Because sometimes you can just like set up Tutor on lethal and they can't kill you, and then it's just like, yeah, okay. So either you die next turn or you have to waste your damage into my minions. Right. So it's like a win-win situation sometimes.
So you're forcing your opponent almost to do the work for you, whilst you're you're forcing them to take bad decisions without even having to do.
Yes, it's like if the opponent is at 8 life and he has like Alex Strasser on board, and you play Rack, like either it wins me the game or it wins me the game. Like
just choose which way I'll win this game.
Yeah, he just wanna say, okay, you need like heal now, and you need to deal with that.
He'll know there's probably no more taunts and not much heal. We can see there is a heal in hand, and it's just what you've just been saying about. He's like, Yagut now has to waste a lot of resources just to stay alive this turn, and he needs to be using those resources to try and do at least 25 damage. And there's a Justicar on the way.
Yeah, and there's an Alex, so
he's probably got to do something like 45 damage, and he's got to waste his card staying alive.
Oh, he's gonna... Okay, so he chose to load it. Like, he had the option of making an 8-8. Like, he could safely do that because... instead of a 6-6, because he already saw EGS being played.
And he's managed to... I mean, credit to how Yagut plays this game. He's managed to set up a board that...
He's dead now.
At least looks scary before dying, right?
Yeah. I mean, he still had to top deck lethal. I think Yagut played this exceptionally well. He got a lot closer than a lot of people would have, I think.
Yeah, I would have sort of conceded about 3 turns ago. Just because I wouldn't have been able to see. He's got the vision to see how he can get out of trouble.
And that's like the difference between good players and mediocre players. Like, if it wasn't against a good player like JJ, maybe the Warrior would have misplayed more. And maybe like Yagut playing so exceptionally well would actually have meant the victory.
Yeah, and we actually saw a similar matchup to that in the World Championship quarterfinals or last 16 with Rogue. I think Hotform managed to pull out that exact matchup by just hanging in there against a really bad looking situation and sort of forcing win through there. So we have a mirror match. Everybody's favourite, right? At the end of the day.
So a few things about the mirror match. The dynamics changed with the Justicar release. Before you could win by going aggressive in some situation. Now you can't win. Like basically the best card to have early game is Justicar. Usually I only keep like Despite and Justicar if I know for a fact it's the mirror, because if you get Justicar early and the other don't, you just win the game.
And is there any point at all in drawing cards?
You don't draw because as I said, you can't really rush them down anymore. So when the aggressive option is not an option, drawing is bad because games will always go to fatigue. So,
do you think this will change as we're going to see them now sort of just trade armor ups over the next few turns? Just talk about the current meta slightly. Do you think we'll see that change with the Fierce Monkey? Do you think that might be able to make the deck slightly more mid-range and pressuring?
There's definitely the option. I already saw Life Code making some progress with that, more mid-rangey warrior. That being said, I think the strength level is not good enough. If it had like the strength level of a raptor, like an unearthed raptor, then maybe, but
it's just a big spider tank, right?
Yeah, with Sword, like it's okay, but.
And so, what is the plan for... I know one of the things in this matchup is to make sure you get to use your executes. If you get too cute with you end up with an execute you never cast in your hand. Like if you just try too hard not to use them. Also, you try not to draw cards. We've seen trickery where you try to use your opponent's Sylvanas to give them a Acolyte or something like that.
Yeah, you can do that, like usually very late game. Actually even earlier, like it's actually good in any stage of the game. Why did he play the Ghoul there? He doesn't have any... I mean, I usually just save Ghoul for like a brawl turn later. Just throw it in with a brawl.
just to give you more chance of
Yeah,
your side
that's.
winning.
I think Ghoul is just maybe his like. Oh, okay. Actually, I don't think it's gonna work against Yagut, but it can. If you're playing against a bad warrior player, he might have played the acolyte.
Oh yeah, look, I can draw 4 cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this guy is so stupid. Why does he play that into my
It's
acolyte?
also a way of emptying your hand because you don't want to use your coin yet, maybe. You're up to 8 cards now. Maybe it's just a turn where he thought he could get a card out.
Oh yeah, but he wouldn't have overdrawn, right? I don't think he would.
He wouldn't have overdrawn now, but it was a good turn. It was the only turn he was going to get the ghoul on the table for some time. So maybe it's just a way of keeping his
But
hand.
he still had plays like Belcher. Belcher is okay. Like that's one of the few minions you can just drop. Like
So how big is getting his first Justicar? Is it just the whole
it's
game?
incredible big. Like I hate this matchup now. I think it was as like if both players understand the matchup, it is kind of like the patron mirror. Like it's not exactly coin flippy, but it is very coin flippy. I think it was more skill dependent earlier. I don't like Justicar, what it did for this matchup.
Yeah, it does seem to be that.
So when there's only one game plan, like it's not good. Like you want a deck to be able to pursue multiple game plans based on the current state of the game, because that makes it more skillful.
Yeah, I mean, if your game plan is get the most armor and you get your guy on the table that gets you more armor, and you get it 10 turns earlier, it does seem
like it's just draw dependent. So.
As long as they draw near each other, then it's not so bad, obviously. But
yeah.
Do you think that the new set has made a lot more sort of interest for the game? It's only 45 cards, but it does seem that a lot of the pros are already thinking, this can make Hearthstone as good as it's been for a long time.
It's going to be interesting to see how, like, if the Reno hype is going to continue or if it was just hype.
I think it might be one of those things that turns out to be a bit cyclic. Like, if no one's played Reno for a while, someone will turn up and play Reno and do well. And then when everyone's expecting Reno, it's like, okay, well, we'll just play solid Secret Paladin decks. And
the good thing about that card is that, like, it opens up for, like, a whole wide of possibilities. Just like one card makes, like so many new types of decks.
Mm-hmm.
And Reno is gonna, like, when there's gonna be new cards, Reno's just gonna get stronger, right? Because then like there will be less power difference between the best and the second best in 4-drop, the best and the second best 5-drop. That difference will be smaller the more cards is gonna be released.
So that's fantastic going forward. And it also seems I'm really happy with the way it's looking at the moment. But again, I'd like to get your opinion on these things. And this is just all jousting now, right? He's just trying to Yagut's trying to find a way to get the board. JJ's obviously sort of.
This is the best get-on you get.
Yeah.
That is so good. You never want to use like shield slams and executes on shield maidens. Like you can't really do that.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you are fairly sure you've already dealt with the big threats.
So this is where this matchup can be deceptive, I think, where Yagu's done the thing where you stick a few things on the board, do a decent amount of damage, and look like you're miles in front. But JJ's got his chance to do those things back to Yagu now.
Yeah, and the thing is, you can't really like. Okay, there can be some scenarios where you're absolutely forced to draw, but you can't really draw. Okay, that's a really good top deck. Like, that's the best value you get out of Armorsmith in this matchup. It's such a bad card. But placing it behind the Belcher is really good.
Yeah, because a lot of the time it comes down to, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like critical numbers at the end. So you're both going to fatigue for 12, say. And if you happen to be the one on 13 life, even if you're 11 or 12 behind your opponent, if you can manipulate it so your opponent takes the extra hit first, you can win from 12 or 13 life behind.
Exactly.
As long as you do your maths really, really well at the end.
Yeah, like, it's so interesting watching those. I mean, I'm sure there's some viewers that don't find it interesting, but I think it's pretty interesting to like the fatigue math and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yes, the last part of the game I find interesting. This part of the game, I must admit, as a viewer, it does just seem to be sort of circling each other, trying to get tiny. I mean, the advantages do add up. Like these guys are getting every last piece out of every card they can.
Well, at least Good got his Justicar. Otherwise, like I'm really glad he got that. Like, I'm sure it makes this game a lot more interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting as well watching JJ trying to delay Yagut being able to play it. Playing the Geddon, the turn he played the Geddon, not only cleared out the minions, but it was another turn that Yagut couldn't play his Justicar.
Yes, under too much pressure.
So that was another 4 sort of damage done that we didn't even get to see, or another 2 damage done that we didn't even get to see.
So Mr.Yagut forced to draw feels bad, man, but he had to, I think.
And the guy who is saying might be behind in this matchup has a trivial-looking 70 life right now.
It's actually not bad, yeah. It's true. It's actually not bad using Rom as removal in this matchup. Like, it's not... Like, it is just 10 damage to face. But sometimes, like, often it comes down to the guy who is more efficient with his removal. Like, the Grom is gonna die no matter what, so... But if you can, like, kill the first part of a Belcher, it's not bad value, like...
Yeah, that's sort of what I was going back to about the executes earlier as well, like being efficient with your removal. You definitely get some games in this where the execute doesn't get used because you try to be too cautious.
Yes.
I've seen games lost where the guy has the execute in his hand at the end. It's like, well, why didn't you execute that 5-3 6 turns ago?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some skill element to holding back on hard removal, but you also sometimes gotta realize that those are general rules of thumb. You can't always play the matchup as you read in a control warrior guide. Like, yeah, good example. Yeah, he knows you shouldn't roll, but what are you gonna do when you have 2 Acolyte and an execute, nothing else? Like, you have to draw, otherwise you're just gonna get pressured down. The minions are just gonna deal too much per turn.
Yeah, and I always find it interesting to highlight the differences between, the strong players, even talking sort of, players who can get to legend, and the top pros, and it's that difference between, I'm not going to execute your 5-3, and the top pro going that one level further going, well, actually, I am going to execute your 5-3, not because I'm stupid, but because in 16 turns' time, I might not have used this execute for anything, so I might as well use it now. But doing that at the time that it matters, not just doing it as like you just said, not just doing it because it's in the rule book,
yes,
but doing it because they know how the game's going to progress. And that is the difference between sort of the lower legends and the absolute top guys. The foresight they have is incredible. So again, JJ just sneaking a point of armor there, in case it matters at the end. And Yagut's hand's pretty weak. He did a lot of damage early on, and you can see now that the game is going back the other way, and the damage done early on just has turned out not to be particularly relevant because now he's having to face the onslaught himself. With this pretty...
Yeah, like Brawl was an option there. Like usually good opponents play around Brawl, but that was like decent value, I guess. I mean, I think he just recognizes he has maybe only he has like 1 hard removal and really don't want to lose to Super JJ overcommitting and him not having an answer.
What are the tech choices in this deck, like Brawls, Harrisons, that sort of thing? What are the differences? Are there any differences that people use, or is the list really set now?
I think there's some differences. Like Harrison is not particularly good anymore. So yeah, before obviously Patron, everyone in Control Warrior played Harrison. But now, like even the Mirror Harrison is not that good. Like it's usually you don't want to even draw cards. So. I mean, it's not like it's bad. Like you draw a card, but you also remove a weapon. So
it's interesting you say that because watching some VLPS stream this week, and he's been taking out Sylvanas for Harrison. I don't know whether that's some sort of double bluff for a tournament that he's in, but he's been saying that he's not a fan of Sylvanas at the moment. He much prefers Harrison in the current meta.
Yeah, like Sylvanas is actually not that good against Paladin, because they have so many small tokens.
And that is, of course, ladder meta, which is obviously a different thing to tournament meta as well, where you are running into Paladin after Paladin after Paladin because people have heard it's the best deck.
So this decision is really, really interesting because you could essentially try to risk it and make JJ steal an Acolyte. Like, there was a play that was playing double Acolyte, attacking and execute.
Okay.
But also just playing 1 Acolyte was another option, because if you play a double Acolyte, it's kind of even, but again, you have lower chance of giving your Sarah away.
So he has to sit there and judge whether he thinks he's in front or whether he thinks he's behind, And if he thinks he's behind in that situation, he's more likely to go for the risky play. If he thinks he's in front, obviously, and if it's close, then you don't take the chance.
So we can see that both on 9 cards. I believe Super JJ went second. That means he gets some more cards. So when Yagut draws, I guess you can draw 1 if you're going first. It's an advantage of going first in this mirror.
And obviously, Isira ridiculously good because you're drawing cards that don't fatigue you.
And actually, sometimes it's correct to like buff that +5 and then like let it hit you hard because it don't matter. It's value, not like life.
Yeah, sure. Because 1 card is worth far more than like 5 damage, right?
I don't think it's correct here though, but it is always an option to consider with that Nightmare. Like I like Nightmare a lot because it's such a flexible card.
Yeah, it's usually just the 3/5 that's a bad one, isn't it? Laughing Sister. And then
Yeah, but not like I think it's getting underrated. Like it's not always bad. Like sometimes you rather want a Laughing Sister than a Nightmare if you're running out of cards against a Druid or something.
And why is that? Just the repeated damage, just to keep the board for a while.
Yeah, just like if your hand is low value, like if value is the thing you lack, then obviously it's better than getting a sap. You don't care about that. Like if it's a top deck scenario, a sap is really bad, or like a Nightmare can be bad if you only have like a big minion.
Yeah.
But like just getting an actual minion can sometimes be better.
And JJ seems unsure exactly how to approach these bots. Again, I presume just trying to get every last sort of point of damage exactly correct in case it comes down to the end. Well, for when it comes down to the break points at the end with the fatigue. And where are we at? We're at 9 each. So we're 8 each now.
We still have a lot of stuff going on in this match before it ends.
So there's 8 cards left each, and they will fatigue to something like 13. Is that a good number?
Awakens and Nightmare can like put a stop to JJ's fatigue calculations because it's a lot more than you expect on average from the Sarah cards.
Right.
It's like
but there will come a point where he doesn't see the minions, so he'll know there's 5 damage on each, or the sap.
Yeah, like you can kind of think like, okay, were there good options for the other cards? Then you can exclude them, and okay. It's got to be like 2 Nightmares or Awakens or something.
Nice little play there, using the slam to kill the 4/2, so you don't draw the card. Just everything you can do to not draw cards.
Also, just like equipping weapons, not attacking. It's good, right? Because if the opponent plays Harrison,
stopping your opponent playing Harrison. And what would he be thinking about here? I assume. Is he going to be worried that he's down to his last shield slam?
Yes, if I get rolled and Awakens. He can deal with most still. Yagut has he has 2 removals, 3 removals, AoE, 2 AoEs, and a big threat. Yeah, it's pretty close. I would say JJ I think he's favorite, right?
Yeah, I think on top of the Justicar being obviously so important, one of the things that's really hurt Yagut in this match has been that double Acolyte really early on.
Yeah.
He's been playing 2 hands light the whole game, 2 cards light.
Yeah, because you can't draw with him. So, if you have less cards you can actually use, obviously you are gonna gain less than 1 for 1 for your minions because you have less options to remove them efficiently.
And so that's just over the space of the sort of the 15-20 turns they've been in his hands, slowly just led to the situation where, I mean, he was something like 50 life ahead not that long ago. And that's just been eroded bit by bit. Again, from what you're saying, because he's got fewer options, literally just getting slowly ground down.
Yeah, you could also have slow played there and just just leave a 1/1 armor smith. And if the opponent plays something, I'm just gonna get all value. Instead of playing get him.
Right. Wow, 72. And I assume at this level, JJ will be aware that those 2 left-hand cards are acolytes. He'll have worked that out probably by now.
Yeah.
He may think one's a Grom, but that is the third card.
Shield block, a second, like thing, like second shield block.
So he'll know they're dead cards because they've just not been used.
Yeah. That's why some people argue that Lee Starseeker is good in Control Warrior, because you can just play the monkey when you're out of cards, and then all your acolytes and shield blocks turn into random legendaries. Granted, they could be bad legendaries, but on average they would still be better than
cards you can't play.
Acolyte and shield block, and brawl, it's still better than unplayable cards.
I think it's definitely a thing people have to look at, right? Even though it's silly, it's...
Yeah. I feel like there's so many cards that's good in fatigue matches, but fatigue matches are not that common, so...
So the card has to be at least half valuable in its own right. So this is the bit that I think you consider the interesting part of the match, where you just have to keep making sure that you do the calculations. Not necessarily at first, because the first few turns are circling each other, waiting to get down to the break points.
Yeah, so in the end, one card difference is usually like it's more than 10 damage. That's why drawing is so bad, because it's like pyroblasting your own face.
Just for one card that probably buys you 3 damage worth of tempo. And it's like pyroblasting your own face every turn. When it gets to 13, then 14 of your opponent's only taking 11 and 12, right?
I mean, it's not pyroblasting your own face every turn. It's you deal one,
Yeah, you deal 1 extra damage for 14 extra turns.
Yeah, so if you take 18, it's 18 damage. If you take 19, it's...
And...
Yeah,
so what are the tricks around this point? Obviously, trying to give your opponent an Acolyte is one if they play a Sylvanas, but that's gone from this game.
Yes.
There's Grom tricks, I believe.
I mean, it's just it's just getting the most value out of your hand. If you can get something to stick, the chip damage is going to be a lot. So the guy who has the last cards to stick will have a huge edge. So, fortunately for Yagut, he doesn't have to deal with a 7/7, because using an extra removal piece there would be really, really bad.
Yeah, he has definitely... He hasn't lost the game yet, but he's lost the value battle to this point so far. And again, as we keep going back to, it's those 2 Acolytes of Pain. Plus, he didn't get his Justicar first, so all the drawing has gone against him in this game as well.
The problem for Mr.Yagut is that status quoing is not gonna do something for him. Romashing is not gonna do something for him. So I think he's just locked out, because he only has removal. But Super JJ, why should he play anything? I think by the looks of it, he's winning, right? They're about even. He has more life. So why should he play any minions, right? If
and he can reply to anything that Yagut does. And Yagut doesn't have much of a hand at all. He can kill 2 or 3 things.
Yeah, so Super JJ is just gonna say, okay, Yagut, you have to do something. But if you do something, you are gonna...
I think this is the most armor I've seen. I mean, this matchup goes to a lot of armor, but 77?
That's common. That's common.
Yeah.
Your Justicar, really, it's not that uncommon.
And Yagut will obviously be trying to plan for his opponent making a mistake here, but it's really hard to see what that would be. And we're just going to get... Luckily, the players know the score. They're just going to rattle through these next 5 or 6 turns.
I hope he's going to play double Acolyte and attack face to kill himself.
Wow.
I mean, I don't think he can win, right? What can he really do? He has Grom for extra, but so does Super JJ, so it's not going to change anything. It's exactly the same.
And I think this is his concede mood. It's let's do this now and make sure that he's got an answer for it, and then just...
He has no humor.
15 points of damage with 1 card is fairly amusing, to be fair.
Yeah, it is. He just knows that. He just knows that it's going to die anyway. So
I wouldn't be surprised to see him playing both Acolytes here. To be honest, as a way to... Yeah, he's just going to go through all his cards in order, I think. I guess he needs to just check that JJ doesn't... But yeah, okay.
Yeah, he already came off last turn.
And JJ stays on 100%, winning
Yes.
3-2 in Warrior versus Warrior showdown at the end there. Yagut moves to 2-2, so he's still on a good record as the top 4 qualify out of 8. So 50% is absolutely fine at this stage, especially his first big tournament for a long time.
Yes. What a match and what a game! Like, it was like exactly what we hoped for, right? I personally don't mind these Warrior mirrors. I think they're pretty interesting. There's so many dynamics going on that you can talk about, and you have to take into consideration.
There were a lot of value things there that paid off for JJ. I mean, he knew that he had the upper hand when Yagut wasn't playing those 2 left-hand cards, and he made sure to put that through. Do you know when the next stream is?
Yeah, I believe it's on Wednesday, but I am not entirely sure. I don't have confirmation on that. So yeah, like stuff like in the end, it still comes down to like, I think JJ drawing Jessica like 3 or 4 times earlier. Like, it's sad the matchup has come to that, but in the end, still a great show. We had some really, really great matches today.
Yeah.
And it was definitely an exciting day. And stay tuned for next time. We are gonna broadcast again in Weplay Hearthstone League. Thanks for watching a lot, and have a good day.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and I'll hope to see you guys again soon, and see you in the week. Hit the follow button so you do get the exact times of starting as well. Always remember that bit. So, cheers.